Hey everyone, and welcome to another live session of the Type Convo podcast. Today I have the honor and the pleasure to actually be joined by two amazing designers. A typographer, Carly Salzman, will be joined, and an amazing creative, Adam Vicarel, from Vicarel Studios. So this one is going to be a really good one. I haven't done a live chat with more than one person before, so let's hope the Instagram will be on our side. I'm going to invite them right now. So let's start with the chat. Okay, let's see if they are able to join me.
Hi.
Hey, Carly, how is it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm trying to add Adam. Yeah, Instagram is always a bit buggy when it comes to this. So
Yeah, I believe it.
yeah, I've tried it a couple of times so far, and there's always something, something buggy. Yeah.
Never goes smooth like you want it to. Of course not.
Yeah. I mean, Adam is not. Let's see. Just seconds.
Oh, Adam.
Hey,
Hey there.
what's up, Alan? Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, finally, after talking for quite some time now, it's good to see you both.
Yeah,
You too.
likewise.
Thanks for having us.
No,
Yeah,
it's my pleasure, definitely. We've been, especially me and Adam, we've been chatting for quite some time now on Instagram, and honestly, it's been amazing to see all the work you guys have done, and especially in the last week while I was preparing for this, I've seen so many new things about both of you and so much new work. It's really amazing. Seriously, like from fun design, from the way you started careers, it's definitely a good story. So I'm glad to have you today.
yeah, truly our honor. I feel like I was talking with a friend about it. Talking about letters is a very niche topic, and when somebody on the other side of the world is excited to do it, I'm like, let's do this, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's quite a niche, we have. So it's a good thing to have other people who are also excited about
Oh yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Okay, I give you the word. Like, present yourself. Give us a bit more info. Whichever one wants to start first.
Yeah,
Adam, you take
I'll kick us.
it away.
Yeah, I'll kick us off. Give a little bit of context to kind of how Carly and I operate together. So I started Vicarel Studios about a decade ago when I moved to Denver, Colorado from basically from Cleveland, Ohio. And the studio, we focus on branding, packaging design, and hand-painted murals, all of which has kind of a foundation of hand-drawn typography and illustration. So our work is highly approachable. It's very fun. It's very crafted. And what we kind of sell to our clients is, as a studio, whether it's branding or environmental design or packaging for a distillery, we are selling the idea of combining art and design and kind of blurring those lines. And so we've been really focused on work in the CPG space, the cannabis industry, and the spirits industry recently. About 6 years ago, so I work in a collective, we're in this like collective space, kind of like a WeWork, but it's all independent creatives. And about 5-6 years ago, I posted saying like, hey, we're looking for a new person to join the space, meaning like somebody who's an independent creative that needs a spot to work out of. And at the time, Carly had just moved from Chicago to Denver, and she misunderstood my message and was like, hey, I'd love to come work for you. And I was like, that's not what I'm looking for, but
I sent
let's grab a coffee.
Yeah, I sent like a full resume, and he's like, "That's cool, but that's not what I'm saying."
Yeah, and so we ended up grabbing a coffee and kind of chatting. Her work really nicely complemented the style of work that I had already been doing for a number of years. and kind of saw it as an opportunity for us to work together. And with time, she kind of integrated more and more into the studio, came on full time about 3 or 4 years ago. And since then, we've kind of been operating as I kind of function as creative director, senior designer, and Carly functions as designer, illustrator, typographer, brand design. I mean, frankly, we both are wearing a lot of different hats.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the thick of it. I don't know if there's anything I missed there, Carly, or if you want to add any more pieces to that.
No, you kind of nailed it. Yeah, this is like Adam said, like it was actually a week before I was moving from Chicago to Denver that you posted that. So it just felt like a very serendipitous, like the connection just kind of fell into my lap because I had been following Adam and a bunch of other designers while I was in school. So after I wrapped up school and he posted this right before I was about to move, it was just really neat that I got to connect with a designer whose work I admired for a couple years. So really, really cool. I was like, it was a very like starstruck moment kind of thing. So I was like, little dream job kind of just got thrown at me. It was very cool.
Oh, that sounds amazing, especially since he wasn't hiring. So
Yeah.
you know,
I
no, that's
snuck my way
cool
in.
story, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing, and I've been, researching about both of you, and Adam, you actually didn't want to start your own company. You were in between jobs before Vicarel Studios, and then you went to travel Southeast Asia, if I'm not wrong.
Correct.
And what happened then? Yeah,
Yeah, that's a great question. So I basically, when I graduated in 2011 with a degree in graphic design, and my first job was a junior designer at a promotional products company, doing a little bit of everything. So it was great because it gave me an opportunity to explore brand design, production design, apparel design, web design. I mean, I was literally trying a little bit of everything. So getting an understanding of what I actually like to do, because in college, I didn't really do any illustration. I'd never done hand lettering, and I didn't necessarily enjoy branding. So right out of school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my degree. So the first job was an opportunity to kind of figure it all out. After about 2.5 years at that first job, I went backpacking in Southeast Asia for about 4 or 5 months with a buddy. And in that time, we were just traveling and having a good time. We did some volunteering in the Philippines and in Vietnam. And during that time, I had seen a demand for hand lettering kind of picking up in the creative industry. So I saw the travel as an opportunity to practice that. So I'd be on a 7-hour bus ride in Vietnam or a long flight or boat ride in the Philippines. And I was just practicing hand lettering. And I fell in love with both travel and lettering at that time. So after that trip, when I moved back to the States, I kind of had this epiphany while I was volunteering in the Philippines, and realized that I really wanted to pursue a career that was more deeply fulfilling on a day-to-day basis. And I didn't know what that meant. I knew that was a feeling I wanted to feel. And so I returned to the States, spent a little bit of time back with my parents, and then ultimately moved to Denver, Colorado, where I now live. And I came out here with the ambition to kind of work on my own terms, do my own thing. I knew that I wanted to take hand lettering and somehow infuse that into my career. And so after about 3.5 years working out here, I was freelancing at agencies and I was practicing lettering every second that I had. I was working a lot of like 60, 70-hour days, making almost no money, like hardly able to pay rent. I stopped buying cheese and avocados because it was frivolous expenses. Like I would go to the bar with friends and I would buy one PBR, which is like the cheapest beer that you can get. And I would put flask of whiskey in my jacket and just drink that in the bathroom. Like I was doing everything to save money just to give me runway so that I could continue to pursue hand lettering in the hopes that it could maybe become a career one day. And with time, a lot of perseverance, a lot of dedication, a lot of sacrifice, it slowly became an opportunity that clients, agencies were seeing as something that they wanted or something that they wanted to infuse into their business. So after about 3.5 years of very bumpy roads, it became, a thing that I was becoming sought after for. And it slowly became a studio, and, Carly was added. And it's kind of one of those things that I think there's this perception that you should have it all figured out and have a 3-year, a 5-year, and a 10-year plan. And I'm kind of just like, I don't know, let's make some fun shit today. And I think that'll lead to more fun shit tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, but a lot of people actually forget when they want to start their own thing that it takes really 16 hours a day at the beginning, so that after maybe 5 years, you will get to a point where you will be super successful. And while he was traveling in Southeast Asia, what did you do, Carly, before joining the Vicarel Studios?
Well, while Adam was backpacking through the wilderness, I was still in school trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I went to the University of Missouri and majored in communication, and it was always kind of a placeholder degree for me. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I just, like Adam said, I just knew that I wanted something different other than just sitting in an office or a cubicle. I wanted something that actually had a little substance to it. So shortly before I graduated, I saw a friend's graphic design portfolio, and I saw it and I was like, whatever this is, I didn't know what graphic design was. I didn't know that being a typographer was a job that existed, but I saw her portfolio and I was like, whatever this is, I need to be doing it. So I graduated from the University of Missouri, moved back home and with my mom, and got another degree of just an associate's in graphic design. And that's when I discovered the world of design, of fonts, of typography. And it was just this door that got open that I didn't know that was there. So I started following Adam and a bunch of other designers, and then I moved out to Denver, and here we are on this Instagram Live.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I mean, yeah, it's somehow funny that all of us studied one thing and then figured out later the things we actually want to do. Somehow as if they are pushing us too early to start studying, just do something before we even have any idea, like, what do I really want to do in life? So
yeah. And Alan, was your experience at all similar? Like, did you, obviously you are known for your type, and for years, frankly, I thought you were a foundry of a few other type designers, just because you produce such incredible work, and you're prolific. Like, I'm just constantly seeing stuff. So I'm curious, was your experience at all similar, or did you study design as well?
no, I had no connection to design, like to my university or high school. I studied civil engineering, like not connected. Yeah, like nothing at all.
Equally as
But
meticulous as type design.
yeah, it's totally like different creativeness in mine. And one is kind of an office job with a computer and a lot of mathematics and everything. Type is more creative. And at some point, I actually started with web design a bit, like for some friends. And then I figured, like, this is really something I like to do, and branding, logos, bit by bit. Then I had my own agency as well. But at some point, it became too much because I was doing, like, as you said, Adam, like too many hats. And I was replying emails all day long and just figured at some point that there's nothing creative I'm doing, Like, I'm working for like 8-9 hours and just replying emails, and it wasn't just what I wanted. So then I actually discovered creative market and type design like some 7 years ago. And that's when I started, and yeah, with typography. So
got it.
But it's interesting that you say that there's something all the time. I'm publishing quite a lot of fonts, and one of those designers that are managing to launch a lot of things. There's one thing that I discovered on your blog Parkinson's law.
Mm.
It's something that I had no idea until this morning,
Oh,
really. But it was how I was working, Like I have today to finish all the possible letters that I have, and that's it. What I do, I will not, it's not like, oh, I have 2 months to finish a typeface. So I give myself quite strict deadlines. So that's how it works.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh
Yeah.
wow, so
that's how I'm able to publish, so many of them.
you've been practicing Parkinson's law. You just didn't have the term for it. Very
Yeah,
cool.
I had no idea like it existed, but I had it.
Yeah.
So it was amazing to read a blog post you wrote, and yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah. Just
Awesome.
and for the context for folks, Parkinson's law basically states that any given task will take the time that you allot it. So if you say you're going to create a new typeface in 2 months, it will take you. You will be able to expand that task for 2 months. You'll find ways to nuance it, to work on it. If you say you're going to do it in 2 days, you will also be able to complete it in 2 days. And of course, there's certain circumstances where it's not fit. Like if I want to build a house in 1 day, it's just not possible. So there's like parameters that are within reason. And I think, a lot of people, particularly in like Silicon, would refer to that thinking as kind of sprint-based methodology. And we depending on the project we're working on, we really try to adopt the mindset or the thinking of Parkinson's law, because as creative individuals, to maybe speak for all of us, but I feel like there is always something that you could adjust, that you could explore more, that you could make slightly better. And the whole idea of like done is better than perfect, I am such an advocate for, because I actually gave a talk at a Creative Mornings a number of years ago where I was talking about the idea of perfectionism. And I think it's an excuse that many creatives use to protect themselves because they're nervous to put themselves out there. They're scared to be vulnerable and say, this is done, and I'm putting it out into the world, and if you don't like it, you don't like my work. I think people get nervous to do that, and they use the term perfectionism as an excuse to be like, nah, it's not perfect, so I haven't released it. And I'm just such an advocate for getting past that. Just produce work, put it out there, learn from the mistakes, and move on and apply those learnings to whatever you do next.
Yeah, absolutely true. I totally agree with that. I mean, I could find like errors and small things in my typefaces that I would fix now, but it would take me months to actually make it completely perfect, every curve, everything. And it's not business, after all, even though we are creatives and we are creating real art, it's business in the end. So you have to, it's really cool. You both have been like in the kind of hand drawn and handwritten style in the fonts you make, in the murals you do, and there is one special font that I really love, and that's Grandma's Recipe. And Carly, what's the story?
That's my favorite too. So that actually became a Vicarel Studios font, just not on accident, I guess, but I made that as a personal thing a couple years ago. As a Christmas gift for our dad, we ordered this platter on Etsy with one of his mom, my grandma's like meatball recipe. But we didn't have the recipe written out in her handwriting, but we had a bunch of other recipes that she had written out on note cards. So I just retraced her letters from other things, made it into a font so that we could take his favorite recipe and make it into a gift. And then Adam saw it and said, I've been looking for an authentic handwritten typeface like this. Would you mind if we, maybe like tweaked it up a little bit, like really polished it and then put it out as a Vicarel Studios font? And I was like, absolutely. So that's my grandma's handwriting. That's Grandma Dorothy out there in the wild. And it's been really cool to see, it's ended up on, in restaurants. I was in the Kansas City airport one time and looked over at this gift shop, and it was on the cover of a notebook. So it's really gotten its way out there. It's been really, really cool to see.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, especially as photographers, when you do a work, you don't really see it much live and on a real product. So I understand that. It's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a personal favorite. It got so much character.
Yeah, it's definitely different kind of font, and there's so many handwritten fonts these days, and it's kind of a trend last year, even this year, but it's kind of a different, I would say. It's so I like it's I don't know, it has its unique style, and it's definitely different and a really cool one.
Yeah,
Nice.
thank you.
Thanks for calling it out, because she passed away maybe in 2006, so it's kind of like, a little piece of her just still out in the world is really cool to see.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Um, you've been working with some of the biggest names in the in the world, like from NBC, and you have even Adam did a workshop with the Real Housewives of, if I remember
Dallas.
correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that experience?
Yeah. So I forget what year it was, 2017 or 2018. I taught a painting class to the Real Housewives of Dallas. And for the international audience, I don't know if that's a known thing, but it's a reality TV show where it's a bunch of rich housewives. And they basically just complain and celebrate life. And at the time I was working with a brand called Craftsy, and it's kind of like Skillshare, where it's an online marketplace for digital courses, all things art. Craftsy particularly, they kind of came up doing like knitting and crocheting and like sewing classes, and then slowly expanded their offering into painting, illustration, drawing, ultimately hand lettering. So I did a digital workshop with them. That brand Craftsy was acquired by NBC, so there was a period of time where NBC became a client that I was doing a lot of work with, going out to New York a couple times a year, whether it's for teaching workshops or for events. And one of these opportunities was it's a sip and paint class where you drink wine and there's an instructor who has, the final product up there and kind of walks you through, like Bob Ross, paint your happy little tree. This is what we're doing together. And so I flew down to Dallas, Texas. And the caveat with this is, firstly, I'd never taught a painting class. So I was completely unqualified to do this. And let alone a sip and paint class where it's not even it's already kind of an established model. But normally you have one painting that everybody in the group paints together. These delightful women are very opinionated, and they all contended that they wanted to. We were painting their dogs, but they all wanted to paint their own dog, and some of them had 2 or 3 dogs. So instead of having one painting that the group painted, we did I had 6 paintings of dogs that I had to walk all of these women through with their children. So this was my first time on reality TV. I'm painting 6 animals in real time. There's 9 cameras, all these microphones. It was a very overwhelming experience, to say the least. But I will forever contend, I referred to it as, I use the term chasing the fog when I kind of describe doing something like this. And it's the idea of chasing the fog is I had no idea where doing a reality TV show would lead. And frankly, it hasn't really, to my knowledge, led to anything. However, chasing the fog, this idea of pursuing a thing, even if you don't really know what that thing is or where that thing is going to lead you, I'm such an advocate for going after those things. We have selected a career in the arts that can be explorative and adventurous and fulfilling in ways that maybe is not just financial. It can be fulfilling because I was just curious what reality TV would be like. And it has proved to be one of the most interesting and fun things that I have done in my career. And it didn't necessarily lead to anything, but I think it was cool. It was fun. And, I talk about it whenever I can because it's just such a weird non sequitur. Makes no sense.
Yeah. Did you do any workshops after that, or you just quit completely?
So no sip and paint classes. There was a period of time for a few years where I was doing a lot of in-person hand lettering workshops. And unfortunately, like the best time to do those is a Saturday or Sunday morning. And while I oftentimes do work a little bit on the weekend, to have a dedicated like 4-hour block to teaching a workshop after working all day, or I'm sorry, working all week, in some ways I'm like, I need to have a little bit of boundaries, build in some personal time, spend some time in the mountains, spend some time doing nothing,
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Um, it's interesting. Do you always, like, guys, I don't know, Carly as well, set those boundaries, not working on the weekends, or sometimes there are projects that you just have to finish, or how does it work?
I feel like Adam doesn't stop working. I'm lucky that Adam's given me the freedom to, I have a typical 40-hour work week, and then I have a normal life. But I feel like Adam doesn't stop working, doesn't stop creating. I'll be like, what'd you do this weekend? And he'll be like, oh, well, I not only socialized with my friends, but I also fit in 7 workouts, and I also sent out 15 project proposals. Like, he's insane.
It's for what it's worth, it doesn't feel as workaholic as that sounds. It is
Obviously exaggerate, but
yeah, no, well, it's kind of true though. But I think it's more so I feel that I'm in a very fortunate position, and Alan, you may reflect this or share this feeling that I really do feel like a lot of people talk about work-life balance, insinuating like one thing is used to balance the other. And I really have found a place of integration where I kind of feel like I'm always doing both of the things at the same time, but it doesn't feel like work because I'm building a thing that I'm very passionate about. Like, the clients that we work with, the personal work that we do, I just enjoy it all so much. It's so much fun that on a Saturday, if we have a couple hours and, my partner Becca is getting ready and we're about to go do something, and I have 2 hours to pick away at something, the opportunity to build a new typeface or to explore, a new piece of software that can maybe support building a course or like that stuff is just exciting for me to learn about. So all of that to say, I think I do struggle with turning my brain off. I'm also a co-founder of a coffee company that's based in my hometown. So between the design studio, between all of the other ideas that I have that I certainly don't have time to execute, in many ways, I wish I had more time to do these things because I'm so passionate about them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I mean, there's so many things when you're in this kind of creative business that you actually want to do. And I have some in the background that I've been like working on maybe even for a year that are waiting a bit, but there's just so many things that we do. And I don't feel it's work. I don't know whether it's like a new typeface or, as you said, a new software, or at the moment I'm exploring like audio editing as well, which I never really imagined I would do. But to keep the sound and the podcast and everything like clean and all the things, it's just learning, but it's not like, oh my God, I have to work, I have to do it. It doesn't matter if it's like 12 a.m., 1 a.m. It's just like if I have time, if I'm up, it's not work. It's something I just love to do. So I agree on that one.
Yeah.
You mentioned the coffee shop. I wanted to talk about that as well because it's kind of a really, really nice thing what you do there. I mean, it's not just the coffee shop, but it has its own like contribution to the community in Cleveland. I don't know much about Cleveland except that one TV show that was I cannot remember now, but
is it the Drew Carey show?
No, it was a TV series. Oh my God, it was 4 women from Cleveland. I cannot remember now, but
Okay.
yeah.
can't think of it.
So
It wouldn't
I don't
be-
know much. I don't know much about Cleveland, but the coffee shop is all Cleveland coffee, right?
Yeah, and it's not a shop. We just do direct to consumer or B2B sales of coffee, whether it's ground or
Okay.
whole bean coffee.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And the background of it all, how does it work? And
Yeah. So it's called All Cleveland Coffee, and it is a coffee company based in Cleveland. We are partnered with the Cleveland Food Bank, so we donate back to the food bank for basically every sale, whether it's coffee, merchandise, whatever it might be. So the normal. Let me grab one.
okay.
So here's a little bag. So these like normal 12-ounce retail bags that you get kind of at any grocery store. So a purchase of that bag, we're able to donate 3 meals back to the Cleveland Food Bank. So we basically feed somebody who is homeless or in need for one day based on every bag sold. And so it is a brand that I have a buddy that I know from growing up, and then another partner. The three of us kind of were in discussion. They actually had the idea and came to me and brought me in. And we ultimately brought in 2 additional, they're professional athletes based in Cleveland. One of them is Stipe Miocic, who is a UFC fighter.
Okay.
The other one is Joe Thomas, who is a former Cleveland Browns player and recently got inducted into the Football Hall of Fame. And for the partners and I, the goal was basically to do something that had a more positive impact than just supporting other businesses. We all work aside from the athletes, the other partners and I work in a service-based industry. I do feel fortunate and excited about the fact that Vicarel Studios as a design studio supports the mission and vision of other businesses. So we help build brands or connect brands to their ideal audiences through design. And that in itself it's a cool service to be providing. However, the end result is kind of we're trading art for money, more or less. And this business being a bit more philanthropic, it feels cool. None of us take a draw from the business, so I'm not making money from All Cleveland Coffee. All of that money is reinvested back in the business to continue to support the mission, to donate as much as we can. And I think before anybody thinks I'm too kind of an individual, of course, the goal ultimately would be for it to be financially rewarding, potentially make some money. But in the meantime, to be able to have impact and donate is what we're excited about. Oh, and it looks like a little comment here was the TV show called Hot in Cleveland.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's dad in there.
The only thing. Yeah. I don't remember them talking like super fondly about Cleveland, but I will not go in that part. Yeah.
For what it's worth, you're based where in Spain are you?
Currently in Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Yeah.
So Cleveland is probably not on your list of destinations to visit. Okay. However, it is massively underrated. It's right on a lake, beautiful water activities. It's nicknamed the Forest City. So there's tons of trees and metro parks and trails. If I contend that if I was not as settled and happy in Denver as I am, that Cleveland is a great place to be. I absolutely love it there.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, I'm actually suburb of Barcelona, and it's really close to the mountains as well, to the nature, and that's super cool because I like hiking. I like just to go out to nature, and it just kind of relaxes me more than, I don't know, going out and seeing buildings or whatever. It's just like not my thing. So that's super cool. I might even add it to the list. Yep. Yeah.
First Denver,
okay.
And then Chicago, because Carly recently moved back to Chicago. So I'm trying to get as many murals in Denver as I can to bring her back to the mountains.
Okay.
Bring me back.
Cool.
Likewise, we gotta get some Chicago ones. We'll just keep bouncing back and forth.
Going back and forth. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Hey, let's get one in Barcelona.
Hey, why not? Yeah.
I'm not against it.
Invited. No, it's super cool here. I mean, I've lived in Madrid for almost 7 years now. Well, not now, it's yeah, until last year. And then my husband got a job in Barcelona, and then we moved here. So it's kind of a change. This is like a smaller town right next to Barcelona, and it's a change, but it's nice. So yeah, it's quite good. Um, You've mentioned murals, and that's one of the biggest things I've seen like someone do in creative world, and you have recently just finished one, and it was super big and super cool. I loved like the process and the videos you guys did, and how do you even approach such a big project? And does it start on a computer as well, like branding, or how does it work?
Carly, do you want to chat about this one? Since this particular one that you're referring to was for a brand called Faraday,
Mhm.
which is an apparel brand. I don't know if they're international, certainly a national apparel brand. And they came to us basically with it's a full building, and it was just gray. And they came to us with an opportunity to paint it. And Carly, Carly led the design process. So do you want to speak a little bit to kind of how we go from like, hey, do you guys want to paint a mural to
Massive building, yeah.
to being on the wall?
Yeah. Well, I guess like every mural process has been just a little different, which has been fun. You learn from mistakes, and you know, sizes are different, wall textures are different. But this one in particular, we had a flat lay render of the whole building. So I kind of just put that in my iPad, and I really wanted to make sure that the mural was designed for the building itself, because Faraday is a lifestyle apparel brand. So we wanted the mural to almost be fit for the building in the same way clothes are fit to your body. So we drew like a grid system kind of based on the window. So all the verticals lined up with the windows, and all the horizontals lined up with the top of the windowsills. And it was pretty easy to do because it was all brick, so all the lines are kind of already in there. So once we had kind of a grid system in place, we pulled inspiration from the brand itself, from pieces of clothing. The brand was started on the West Coast, so we pulled in, beach and sun elements. And then since it was based that particular store is in Denver, we pulled in, mountains and all the things that kind of represent Denver, and just kind of pieced and pulled things together and quilted this thing that ended up being really, really cool. But Adam, what did I miss?
Yeah,
Well, how do you go from the iPad to the building? Yeah, that part is like,
Well, I actually missed the first day of getting this up there. I flew in from Chicago, so you guys, Adam and the team, got the design on the building. So you'll probably be able to speak better to that.
Yeah. So we there's basically three methods that we personally use to get a design from, you go through the whole design process to get it approved by the client. That's much like a branding process or packaging design, whatever it might be.
Yep.
But once you get that approved, when you arrive on site, the three processes we use, it's called a doodle grid, where you literally cover the building in little squiggly smiley faces, X's, O's, circles, hearts. So it's covered in chalk or spray paint. And then you photograph all of those doodles, and then you multiply that photograph on top of your design. And so let's just say, for example, Alan, I was painting a portrait of your face on this massive building. And so what you see was when those squiggles are multiplied on top of your portrait, I'll see, okay, there's an X on the right side of his eye, and there's a heart right in the center of his nose. So then when I'm looking at those doodles, I can start to draw the outline based on that. So you're up there either with your phone or your iPad referencing that. So that's one method. The other method is projecting, where you just have a design, use a projector and project it. But for something like a full building, you're not able to use a projector. So the third, in this case, which is what we did, is you basically freehand it. But as Carly mentioned, when we're designing a mural, we are thinking about installing the mural. So when we're proposing the level of detail, the design style. We're thinking, how are we actually going to paint this in the future? And so, to Carly's point, this building has a bunch of windows, doors, obviously a pattern of bricks. So we use perceived lines like the vertical up against a window or the horizontal across the top of a door. We use those as reference points to then build out the rest of the design.
Okay, cool. No, it's something completely new for me, so it's really cool to know a bit more about it. It sounds kind of like when you are both a website designer and developer, you are designing a site, but already thinking about, will this be possible to implement on the website with the code? So
Yep.
yeah, I mean, that's super interesting. I mean, I will definitely link those things in the video when I post it and the podcast as well, because it's super interesting so that people can see it. And I was amazed, it's such a big project and it's something so creative and you see it right there, like it's live, it's not just in your computer. So it's super, super cool.
Yeah, that's the best part about muraling is, we spend most days just behind screens and on computers, which is great, enjoy it, but it's always good to get outside, get messy, get painty. You almost feel like a kid again.
Yeah.
And like doesn't matter if a little paint got smudged here, you can just cover it up. It definitely activates a different part of your brain that you're really not used to using on a daily basis. It's
definitely
fun.
And to kind of piggyback on that and aligned with what you said, Alan, about kind of if you're a web designer and a developer, you have the ability to kind of think more about the implementation. Basically, if you can develop a website, you can ultimately design a better website because you understand functionality and process.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
So similarly, we've had clients that are like, "Oh, you guys also paint the mural." I was like, "Yeah, we design it and we paint it." And I think both of those points, I think, touches on the idea of, I think, conversation in the creative industry about jack of all trades versus niching down, like which should you do? And I think there's a really strong contention or a really strong point to be made for understanding a little bit of everything. Because, for example, my role as a creative director, if I don't understand how a commercial video is shot, or what a photographer goes through when going through a photo shoot or doing a product shoot, or if I don't understand the animation process just a little bit, it makes it really hard for me to make suggestions for how to implement these things in a larger campaign. So to bring this full circle, I think your point about that web developer thing I think it's really valuable to have a broad understanding of much of the creative industry, because even if you are niche down and you, for example, just like focused on being a type designer, I think all of your other interests and understandings ultimately do inform that which you do. So I think it's just a great point. I kind of just wanted to sink in a little bit more.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I agree with that. Like, just knowing a tiny bit of everything helps you do your work. Even if you just, I don't know, you guys doing a lot of things for the spirit industry, and it helps, knowing, even as you said, like how they shoot the commercials and how does it work. You can just suggest better ideas if you know it in advance. So
Yep.
yeah, I definitely agree on that one. Do you guys have some like things that, I don't know, rituals or something that you do outside of the work that helps you actually get better in the design? And I don't know, maybe I know Adam does a lot of running and a lot of mountain stuff. So yeah, some numbers I cannot even comprehend in my mind, like running in a mountain, like, I don't know, a lot of kilometers. So yeah, what do you guys do? Like to just, get further from design, but I'm sure that helps in the workplace as well. So what is it?
Mm-hmm. Carly, do you have any immediate thoughts? I do, if you don't.
You go first.
Yeah.
Circle back to me.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Mine is definitely, as you kind of touched on, Alan, it is fitness and moving my body. I have found I've always been a very active individual, snowboarding, skateboarding, rock climbing, running. I've just always enjoyed a lot of just movement. And I have found that I don't know what it is activating in my brain, but I'm sure if I looked it up, there's some, theta or beta brain waves that are activated when you're when you're doing exercise, and the mental release, the emotional release, the physical release of movement has really, really kind of shaped my work over the years. Much of the style, which I guess you can kind of see a lot of stuff behind us. But if you were to look at any of these pieces individually, certainly my earlier work, all of it looks like it was created and then it was shoved in the mud and then rolled down a mountain and then it like fell into a cup of coffee. And so I think in many ways, my interests in movement and being outside in nature kind of have informed the design style that I have leaned into. And that wasn't intentional. It kind of just naturally happened. But I'm such an advocate for, if you're looking for inspiration, like, yes, you can go on Pinterest if you're, in the middle of a workday and need to get some shit done. But I really think that getting away, doing some travel, getting outside, going for a walk, drinking some beers with some friends, those are the things that kind of refill my cup, so to speak, and allow me to continue to pour, into the work that we're doing.
Okay, no, that's a good one. I agree on that one. Carly?
Yeah, I'm in an interesting spot right now. I guess interesting is not a good word, a fun spot, I should say. So all of the routines that I had the last 5 years when I was in Denver are kind of, I'm changing. I've had to change a lot of things and adjust in a lot of ways after I moved in August. I can't get outside and do a hike. All of the I love doing a Pilates or a yoga, and the place that we moved to, it's like all of the little studios are like 20-30 minutes away, because I'm in a suburb of Chicago as well. So all of the things that I did have, I'm having to kind of re-feng shui, I guess.
Okay.
And one of the things that I'm trying to do this year is just sketch more. Just not even on an iPad, not, nothing on a screen, just like sit down, even on a sheet of notebook paper, and just do some doodles. And another thing that I'm trying to do, one of my New Year's Eve goals for 2025 was to throw a dinner party for my friends every month. So, I'll plan like a little menu, I'll design a menu. So I get to do a little graphic design, but I also get to, learn some new recipes, do a fun tablescape, which that's activating a different part of your design brain, just thinking about color and composition in a smaller way. And I get to hang out with my friends too. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
would say the most important parts is like get around the people
Yeah.
and just hang out, and
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
Do you have a particular thing that you do apart from the creative work itself that inspires the creative work, Alan?
Well, I actually, as I said, I like to go hiking as well. Not running on the mountains. I'm not fit enough for that, but I like hiking. There's a lot of nature here close to Barcelona, so that's really amazing. What I figured last year and the year before, after pandemic, like we were so like closed here during the pandemic, and it was a horror show in Spain. We couldn't like for 2 or 3 months leave the house at all. If you just don't, you can go to grocery store and that's it. And after that, like just being outside was a release of everything. And it was just like go to the park and sit there for, I don't know, an hour, just watching people walking, listening to the birds. There's a lot of nature in the city, in Madrid as well. Here in Barcelona, you have the beach, and you just go, and it's a total relaxation. So that's one of the things that help me. I also like to play tennis, something a bit more intensive. So yeah, Those are two things that I found that help me just stop my brain thinking about all the things I have to do, and then it's kind of a reset
Yeah.
you make. And then when I go back home, it's quite different situation. So that helps.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to step away. It's almost like sleeping. You know, you have to have that time to reset and rest, and then you can get back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it definitely helps to see things from a different perspective if you do something. And yeah, just for the people who are watching us, if they have any questions, they can pose them before we finish all of this up. I will ask you one more question. I mean, there's a lot more things I would like to ask, but in the end, we will have to go back to work, and I don't want to take too much of your time. What's for both of you, like the same question I've asked people before? Um, if you could just give one advice to the people around you, it doesn't have to be connected with design, but it can be. Like, what's one piece of advice that you would give if you could give only just one?
Ooh, we kind of touched on this a little earlier, you know, piggybacking off our little tangent on perfectionism, but my favorite interior designer, her handle is Nesting with Grace. Her name is Brooke Christensen, and she posted a reel a few weeks ago just saying, you know, your home is never done. It takes the pressure off yourself to just always look at it as a work in progress. So this is advice to myself and to whoever wants to take it that's watching, but you know, stop thinking that everything needs to be completely perfect, polished, done. Just always look at everything as a work in progress, because then it's in a state of play, and it's a lot more fun. It takes the pressure off things. So yeah, that's mostly advice to myself that I'm really trying to channel.
Oh, it's a good one.
I like that.
It's a good one.
Yeah. I, I think mine is, this might end up coming across as two things, but I'm going to try to keep it to one. But I think
Give us two. Give us two.
Yeah.
Why not?
I think speaking specifically to the world of social media, I think there's a lot of like 23-year-olds on Instagram and TikTok that are like, I made $180,000 today. Look at how I sell PNGs on Etsy to build my empire. And there's a lot of that crap. Some of it is true and it's like unbelievable, but most of it is either untrue or it's a complete anomaly, and it just feels like it's happening everywhere. So I think my advice would be, or maybe less an advice and more a reminder, that everybody is working at a different pace. Everybody's circumstances are completely different. And I think it's good to remember that as a creative individual, the best work that you're going to create is the work, this is kind of cheesy, but I really mean it, is that it's like the work that is authentic to you and comes from your own personal, preferences or perceptions or things that you enjoy. So for me, loving the outdoors, loving nature, again, that has kind of been the foundation of much of the work I have created throughout my career. Much of it was passion work early on, and that led to client work. So I think by doing that which feels inherent or natural to you as an individual, I believe that ultimately can be the best foundation for creating anything for a creative person moving forward.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. We have a question. How's the new logo versus the old one? I don't know. I didn't know if they have a new one, but
me neither. I'm looking it up right now. Okay. It looks like the H is just wider and no longer in a crest shape.
yeah.
I don't, with looking literally just at the image itself, I don't have a strong opinion. I mean, I understand the need for simplification in a mark, but much of our design is so artful and expressive and illustrative. So I struggle to see just something dwindled down to being so incredibly simple. I get it. It's necessary sometimes. But the H looks nice. It's not a good assessment. Yeah, I would need more context to speak to it with any intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is trying to simplify things, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and there's a lot of people online who are trying to like redesign like other people's logos and big businesses, and I would say like sometimes it makes sense, like for your creativity, just do something fun. But then again, you have to be like ready for people not to like it,
Yeah.
If you are, I recently stumbled upon someone was redesigning a logo from Real Madrid's football club that has its own history, that has like a lot of different things from like years and years back. And you cannot just do and like flat lay that logo and put some fancy letters, because it's just not what the football club is about. So you have to think about what you are redesigning, So that sometimes it can be really tricky. I mean, I'm not a branding designer anymore, but you have to think about stuff. You cannot just like take style from a fashion brand and incorporate it for a football club that's there like for dozens of years, and that it has its own history, its royalty and everything. Is just not the same.
Yeah, I think that's something that gets overlooked a lot. Is there is a lot of designers now that are taking these prominent brands, doing it in their own style, and it completely, that's more a practice of stylistic exploration. It completely overlooks the fact the nuance of client communication, the nuances of having a board or a table of people that have varying opinions, and to not only like navigate those opinions, but to distill all of that information back down through the creative brief and then make creative decisions based on all of that. I think all of that is what makes a brand designer truly stand out and truly talented. And just because you can make something look better than what it looked like, it's good practice, but it is not at all, to your point, that's not a it's not a real thing.
It's not a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, I don't know if anyone else has any additional questions. I would like to thank you guys for joining me today. It's been like really nice chatting to both of you. There's so many other things I would like to ask, but we'll leave it like for the next season of the show or whatever comes next. So yeah, I thank you for everything, and I will be posting this up and linking you guys. So I don't know if there's anything else you would like to add, or.
Yeah, I just thank you for having us, Alan. It's been a huge fan of your work for a long time. I mean, you're prolific. Your work is incredible. So it's an honor to be here, and we appreciate the opportunity.
Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
thank you so much for having us. So nice to meet you. So nice to chat.
Yeah.
One of our like studio 2025 goals is to do a lot more typefaces. So you're gonna be our little.
No, I'm looking forward
for the year.
No. Yeah, I loved what you did, and so what you have before. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys, and thanks
you,
everyone who joined us, and see
Have a
you.
great
Bye bye.
rest of the day.
Bye.
See ya.
You too, guys. Bye.